So I have to tell you about our first week here. Our first week, it was pretty much hell week. It was a lot to get adjusted to. We
didn't think we'd make it past week 1.
no, I wouldn't say that, but it was just kind of windy. We were always jerking and swinging the entire time. Our inverter was cutting out on us in the middle of the night due to low battery. So it was just a lot. And then to top it off, the day after we drove our cars back from Fort Myers Beach, I made it back before Tiff. So when she got home at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, I dinghied to shore, and on the way there, I noticed that there was way more water in the dinghy than usual surrounding my feet and everything. So I looked down and I'm like, wow, yeah, there's a lot of water. I thought that maybe the plug was out that I forgot. Oh no, I knew I put the plug in, but I thought that maybe it had came out for whatever reason. So I was like, well, if the plug's out, I don't want to come off a plane, because probably when I come off a plane, the entire thing's going to go under or whatever the deal is. So I stayed on plane through the entire no-wake zone until I made it to the dinghy dock. And sure enough, when I slowed down, the entire boat went underwater. The tubes, the outboard, I was kind of suspended on the water until it slowly bounced back up. And I tied off to the dinghy dock. It stayed afloat, and I was just kind of in shock. And Tiff's on land. She's just looking confused. And
I was just really happy I made it at 10:30 at night after that long drive, and he's like, we got a problem. I'm like, what do you mean we have a problem? He's like, the dinghy sunk. I was like, what? Like, how are you here then? So yeah, we went. He didn't even know how to explain it to me, so we just went and looked at it, and it's like half underwater. And I have, my backpack, which was a dry bag, but it has, my clothes from the day before and my work laptop with me that I guess forgot that we had in there. And we made the decision we were gonna go ahead and go back to the boat because the cats are on the boat and we don't have a place to stay on land, so it's pretty much what we have to do every night. So we went back to the boat, and it was very dark, and there's just water like in the entire bottom of the dinghy, and I'm just sitting there like pumping my heart out, thinking that's keeping us afloat, when really it wasn't doing anything. I don't think
it was just wet, scary, rolly. And
it was bad. Everything was soaked, and we put our life jackets on. We just were literally thinking we were gonna have to swim at some point, and just kind of towed the dinghy behind us.
I think that I realized that on this ride back we went slower, because obviously when the motors high RPMs, the transom sits lower in the water. So I said that we're just gonna go slow so we don't have that force pushing the transom down low, and it seemed to help. We didn't completely submerge, but yeah. It was.
I was like on the very tip of the dinghy, but my back was soaked. It was
everything that's below the water line was absolutely below the water line, and the water was inside. So
yeah,
we pulled it out. We pulled it out when we made it to the boat, just because we didn't want it to go under overnight. And in the morning, I saw what was happening, and the transom was essentially separating from the tube. So the hard bottom had come completely unattached from the tubes on the port side. So we tried a couple temporary fixes, but the water, it wouldn't hold. So we knew that we had about one more dinghy ride left before it had come completely unattached. So we risked it. We pushed it one more time. Did you just move him over, or?
This won't fit. His clips isn't big enough.
We made it. Huh. It's a little bit better today than it was last night, that's for sure. Last night, yeah, we didn't know we were gonna make it.
Guess what we did?
Yeah.
We bought another dinghy.
We knew there was no way.
A non-inflatable dinghy. A very sturdy Boston whaler.
To top it off, we had to drive back to Southwest Florida, you know, the place we had just driven from the day before, so...
Another 5 hours.
Yeah. We made it. We bought it. It wasn't really... Clearly it wasn't planned, so it wasn't what we wanted. We had planned to buy a 13-foot whaler Dauntless, maybe whenever the time came, but our hands kind of got forced a little bit.
Yeah.
So we just had to buy what was available. And what it is pretty much an old Boston Whaler Rage jet boat with an outboard conversion. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We bought it, and
it's a nice dinghy. It works great.
Yeah.
Everybody loves our dinghy.
Everybody loves it.
It's very sturdy. It's good. It'll be good for us. It just wasn't what we were ready to spend at, you know, the first week of
2
being
days,
in the
2-3
morning.
days after being here, you know.
It's already sunk a dinghy.
Where
already
we
bought
were
a
looking at
dinghy.
all the money savings we were going to have being out here in the
Yeah,
mooring field, and
no.
we just paid for 3
It's
months
bad.
worth of marina
Yeah.
in our dinghy. But less than 50 miles into our trip of over 250 miles back down to Key West,
Oh, yeah.
we hear, oh yeah,
It
oh
wasn't
yeah.
that easy getting the Boston Whaler down here.
We almost tripled our ETA, like the time,
pretty much
going back. The trailer was sounding a little funny, and then all of a sudden it got really, really rocky and smoky. So we pulled over and we noticed that the axle, we pretty much blew the axle on the trailer. The bearing had come unattached, so the wheel was just kind of leaning against the hub. And we're on Alligator Alley, in the middle of Alligator Alley, in a thunderstorm on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
So we're like, what are our options? We don't have many.
We can sleep here with the alligators, or
we can maybe go back. We can maybe leave this and drive 60 miles that way or 40 miles this way to the nearest. I don't know. So we just said, you know what?
we're just gonna push it.
We're just gonna push it. That's what we do. We push things.
Push it to them.
Yeah, and then some.
And over the limit.
So.
And we made it home by 3 a.m. So.
Yeah, we left. We were leaving Marco Island by 5 p.m. and we didn't get here in Key West until 3 a.m., which it should have been a 5-hour, maybe 6-hour drive,
Yeah.
but it was slightly longer than that. And by the time we made it in, I tell you, that trailer wheel was smoking.
That's hot. It was so hot. But we made it. It's really a test to a young marriage, I would say. This first week in the mooring field.
And that was probably 4 days in.
Yeah.
The very next day, we had a cool off. We took the dinghy out on a nice little exploration ride. And we met up with one of our neighbors out here in the mooring field.
Yeah.
So we had him over our boat that evening, and out of nowhere we keep hearing this whistle. We hear a whistle, and kind of like that, but a little
the cat.
different.
He's hungry.
And Tiff looks over, and Jesse, our neighbor, looks at the same time, and they're like, I think there's a fire. There's a fire out here in the mooring field right now that we're getting ready to go see if they need help, see whatever the hell is going on out here. You guys all good over here? That's a grill. There's that. What's that? I mean, fire is a fire, regardless of whether it's a sail or. Tell you what, the resin and everything and all this fiberglass, this stuff, she's gonna go to the ground quick.
We've seen it.
Yeah.
Very heartbreaking.
Yeah, man, I bet there's nothing more terrifying than seeing, just a boat out here on fire, and eventually that fire's gonna get to its lines. So you're gonna see a freaking
come right through the mooring field, raging ball
exactly.
of fire.
So we pretty much jump in gear. We grab our life jackets. We grab fire extinguishers. We hop on Jesse's boat, and I'm spotlighting, trying to figure out exactly where we're going. And by the time we get there, there's about 3 other dinghies in the water ready to assist. And it had just come down to someone's grill got a little bit out of control, but they tamed it. And I don't know, maybe they were even able to eat that night. Had I don't know, extra crispy chicken that night or something.
Yeah.
But
that was cool to see the mooring field kind of come together. People were whistling and immediately just jumped on their dinghy and went over to help them. So.
Definitely cool. But what's not cool is how many events happen in the span of 4 or 5 days. But we made it to the other side of them, and things have gotten much better since.
Yeah, getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
Things settled down long enough for us to let our guard down a bit, so we did some more exploring and found our way to Snipes Key, one of the popular sandbars that the locals come to in Key West backcountry. And by locals, we mean the ones above and below water. We probably saw over a dozen different sharks while we were at the sandbar. Nurse sharks and lemon sharks shared the water with us, and we all got along pretty well. Will even attempted to swim up to some of them, but they just weren't feeling social at the moment. I, however, stayed on the boat.